Hey everyone, welcome to the NRL Round 19 Try Scorer Projections video using the stats from the Bet Finders. So this week we have 13 Try Scorer selections, and as always, like I do every video, I'm going to break down throughout each selection why I think that player is likely to score. I'll also give you the company that has the best odds for that player so you can get the best value for your bet. Every single bet you put on, you want to get the best possible odds to maximize your returns. Even those few cents, 5, 10 cents, can make a massive difference long term. And with try scorers, there can be significant differences. With money lines, head-to-heads, that kind of thing, you can sometimes get a few cents difference across bookmakers, but with props, try scorers, that kind of thing, there can be significant differences. As I said, we're going to use the tool from the Bet Finders to find these matchups. So we're going to break it down for you. I've done all the research. The purpose of this video is to make it as easy as possible for you to put the best bets on the weekend. You want to use these tools for yourself. The link to that is in the description. Before we go through the selections though, let's quickly recap State of Origin Game 3. Queensland winning 24-12. Basically a near perfect performance by the Maroons. Only 2 errors for the entire game. Both of those coming very late. I think both within the final 10 minutes for sure. New South Wales making 11 errors. Basically, the difference between the two teams in this game. Number one, obviously the mistakes when you're completing at 100% for virtually the entire game. In a Game 3, you're going to be very hard to beat. And secondly, Queensland's defense absolutely shut down the New South Wales attack, particularly on the goal line. New South Wales, they didn't really have a great deal of creativity when they were spreading the balls across the field within that 20-meter zone. It was just very predictable, and the Queensland edge defense played very, very well, even though it was mostly inexperienced, particularly in the centres. They were able to shut it down very convincingly. One of those New South Wales tries coming in the final minute of the game, and Queensland back-to-back games, so Game 2 and Game 3, having 20-point leads at halftime. Definitely didn't expect to see that again after what happened in Game 2. New South Wales is a very overall lackluster performance. They had a good 5 minutes or so to start the game, and then from that point forward, Queensland pretty much dominated and just limited the chances. New South Wales still had plenty of chances. If they were able to convert their opportunities close to the line, then this could have been a one-score game for sure, but ultimately they weren't able to. In the second half, I think the NRL definitely got exposed a bit here with what's been going on for most of this season and even the past couple of seasons is this refereeing style where whoever is trailing in the second half gets the majority of 50-50 calls, or even less than that, go in their favour to give them opportunities to even the games up. And I've been saying that's been part of the problem in club football week to week, is why there's so many comebacks this season or games being decided by very small margins, is because that team that's trailing, they're down 2 or 3 tries, get significant extra penalties, set restarts, so they're able to score and play catch up, and then it comes down to a one-score game for that final 10 to 15 minutes. Been happening all year, most of last year, and then everyone saw it with the amount of forward passes New South Wales had in that second half. The 50-50 calls that normally would be a knock-on or changeover resulting in penalties. Obvious to everyone. Really good to see Queensland get the win for Cam Munster as well. The stats for this game. One thing when I was looking through this that I found very interesting is Nathan Cleary was getting less of the ball than Jerome Luai throughout this game. You see the pass receipts 72-80, and that was due to the fact he was forced to make 35 tackles. I think that definitely contributed, because if you go back to game number 2, in this game, he was only forced to make 15 tackles. So 20 extra tackles for Cleary. And then the other thing that I think let New South Wales down, just as I was going through the different stats, is they're playing 4 props in this game, and I think it showed particularly in that second half. There was just very little run for this New South Wales side. They have Payne Haas in the team. Max King only played the 22 minutes, Spencer Leniu played 35, and Stefano Otinu played 26 minutes. Just think across the 4 of them, they're definitely better off having second rows of players that can ball play. I think missing Matt Burton in the side definitely made a difference. Queensland were able to shut down Nathan Cleary's kicking game because there's an obvious majority of the time that he was going to be making the kick pretty much every time he was under pressure. When game 1 was played with Mitch Moses in the team, there was that more unpredictability from the New South Wales side, and having Moses in the team definitely made a big overall difference. And I think this game, and game 2 as well, definitely showed how crucial that is. But New South Wales overall for this game, pretty lackluster performance, particularly game 3 at home. One other thing as well, looking at the team stats, New South Wales only 6 interchanges for this game. They only made 7 in game 2 as well. 7, but back in game 1 where they won the game, they made 8 interchanges and used all 8 of them. I'm not completely sure on the logic as to why they wouldn't use the full 8 interchanges, particularly when they were looking very tired for key stages. And I remember watching the game, there was multiple times, I think it was Andrew Johns commenting that New South Wales need to make changes, get the players that hadn't even been on the field yet in Connor Watson and also Hudson Young. He was talking about that for a good 5 to 10 minutes, and then they bring them both on at the exact same time about 10 minutes after that point, and they still had 2 extra interchanges. So I think they just needed to be more proactive and ultimately just let the game go away. But definitely all credit to Queensland in this game. It was basically, you couldn't have scripted a better game 3 performance on the road for them. They definitely showed up and got the job done. Now, enough about the State of Origin. Let's go on to the try scorers for this weekend. As I said, 13 selections. We have 2 in every game, bar 1. And we'll break these down for you. Starting with the Friday night game, Sharks versus Dolphins. The first play in this game is on the right wing for Cronulla, and that is Sione Katoa. He's $1.87 at Bet365. The Dolphins have conceded to the right wing in just 1 of their last 6 games, so this 14th ranking is on the improve. However, they did concede in 8 of 10 games prior to this. Katoa has scored 2 tries since he's returned from injury this season, missing about the first half of the year, and so scored in 1 of the 4 games, but got a double against the Dragons. And he did score last time versus the Dolphins. It was in the very last minute, but I think the Sharks will look to use that right edge, as it has proven to be the weaker side on the season for the Dolphins. They ranked 16th over there overall. And there is no Kale Iro in the left center position, which is largely producing this number 1 ranking here for the Sharks on that left side. So that definitely lowers their left edge attack overall, and that is the better side for the Dolphins defensively. Sharks should try and target that right-hand side of the field. Katoa, $1.87, happy with that price to take him as the opening play. Did look at the left center for the Sharks in Steve Talakai. The Dolphins have conceded a double to left center in each of their last 2 games. So it is definitely a good matchup. He scored against the Broncos in playing that left center position. This will now be his 3rd game playing there in the row this season. Just at the current prices, he was close to being a play at the mid 2s to high 2s. Just didn't quite see enough value in making it a selection. Also in the 2nd row is another potential betting option for the Sharks, particularly with Britton Nickera playing on that right edge. I think he is a good option, but once again, this 2nd row conceded for the Dolphins has definitely been on the improve of late. They've only conceded to a 2nd row in 1 of the last 5 games, so didn't want to force it. Stick with the 1 play for the Sharks. Then, on the Dolphins side of things, keep in mind there's no Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. Don't think it was even a good matchup for him at all. The Sharks have only given up 2 tries this season to opponent fullbacks. So he wasn't never going to be a bet anyway. And they are also without Cody Nikarima in the halves. The 1 play I want to have for the Dolphins is at left center, and that is Herbie Farnworth. He's $2.50 at Neds. He's one you definitely want to shop around for. I noticed those 210s, 215s floating around. Definitely wouldn't be taking that, but 250 is definitely a bet. The Sharks give up the most tries to the opponent left center of any team, and they've conceded to the left center in 4 of the last 6 games. Farnworth hasn't scored in his past 2 games, but did score in 8 straight prior to that, and has also scored in his last 3 games against the Sharks. One of those when playing for the Dolphins last time, and then the others when playing for the Broncos. So the 2 plays, Sione Katoa, $1.87 at Bet365, and Herbie Farnworth, $2.50 at Neds for the opening game. First game on Saturday night versus Storm. Two plays here, both on the Storm side, so no plays for Newcastle. If you are looking at plays for Newcastle and you do want to take somebody, I would more so be looking towards the left edge, so left center or left wing. That is Bradman Best and Greg Marju for Newcastle. That is the definitely weaker side defensively for the Melbourne Storm, and Newcastle should attack there, but they're not a consistent enough scoring side for me to back them in this game, particularly against the Melbourne Storm and their overall strength of defense. But for the Storm, two players I want to take, and that firstly is at fullback Ryan Papenhuyzen. We did back him last week. I should have gone through the selections. We'll quickly do that now. So last week's selections. With just the 5 games, we initially had 9 selections, but with Papenhuyzen ruled out and Murray ruled out, we ended up with just the 7 selections. From those 7 selections, 4 of them scored tries. In the Bulldogs game, we went with Jacob Preston at 280, who didn't score. It was between him and Kickow, and Kickow scored in the game, so went the wrong way there. And then Marcelo Montoya scored the opening try of the game at $1.90. Raiders Dragons, we hit Xavier Savage, who scored the opening try. He was $1.75, and then Ethan Strange missed. Grant Anderson didn't score for the Storm at the $1.80, and then on Sunday, Daniel Tupou scored for the Roosters at $1.65, and Ruben Garrick got the opener there for the Seagulls at $1.77. So overall, a pretty good week. Now, back to the selections for this game. The reason I wanted to mention that is we had a score last week, but he didn't play. Nick Meaney went to fullback in that game against the Cowboys, and he got a double. So I'm having to take Papenhuyzen this week. He's $2.03 at Sportsbet. He hasn't scored in his last 5 games, but has been very consistent right throughout the season, particularly early on, was scoring multiple tries in many of the games, and he has scored in 2 of his last 3 against Newcastle, and the Knights have conceded to the fullback in 4 of their last 5 games. They don't really give up tries to the edges all that often, particularly to the opponent left wing and left center. That's where they're number 1 in the league to both of those positions. So for this game, going with fullback and also right wing, which is Grant Anderson, who's $1.87 at Sportsbet. This 11th ranking was a lot higher early in the season, and it has been coming down. They've only given up 1 try to the right winger in their last 6 games. But Grant Anderson, this is the way that Storm I expect them to look to target. On their left wing, they have a player who's only playing his 2nd career game, and that right side of the field is definitely been their stronger one all season, even with Xavier Coates playing on the left wing for the majority of the year. So Anderson scoring in 4 of his last 8, and didn't score in his only game versus the Knights, but I think he'll get a good opportunity here. This is the real weak spot for the Knights defensively. Expect 1, if not both of these players to score, particularly if the Storm get rolling in what is an afternoon game for them, even though they are on the road. Dragons versus Roosters. 2 plays again in this game, and they're both on the Roosters side, so no plays for the Dragons. If I was to take anyone for the Dragons, it'd be on the right wing, so Terrell Sloan. The Roosters have conceded to the right winger in 2 of their last 4 games. That's the best matchup on paper. Just at the current prices, he was only around the $1.90 mark. I was definitely looking for over $2, like $2.20, $2.25. If that was available, then he probably would be a play, but at this stage, that's not the case. So you don't want to take the super short odds for a player with a tricky matchup. Expect the Roosters to turn back up defensively. They didn't show up in the first half against the Tigers last week, but they should sort that out this time. For the Roosters, at fullback, we're going with James Tedesco. He's $2.40 at Neds. The Dragons concede the most tries in the competition to opponent fullbacks. They've conceded to the fullback in 2 of the past 4 games, a total of 5 tries. And Tedesco has scored a try in 4 of his past 5 games, so he's in good form as well. Add to that, New South Wales losing the series, him being left out of the team. There's that other chance he'll want to make a statement. The fact that he hadn't really scored a try all season until the Origin series started. He was left out of the team, and now he's scoring in majority of games. And he has also scored in each of his last 6 games against the Dragons, one of the teams he's had really good success with long term. So at $2.40, he's definitely a play. And then probably my favorite play of the weekend, that is on the right wing, Mark Nawaqi. He's $1.70 at TAB. The Dragons rank 13th to the right wing. This is where the Roosters average the most tries to the right wing of any team. And the Dragons have conceded to that right winger in their last 4 games, total of 6 tries, and also 8 of the last 11 games total if you want to go back a bit further. Nawa Quinitawaze has scored in 7 of his past 8 games for a total of 11 tries, and he's scored in every single game when starting on the wing. And he also scored against the Dragons back in round 8, the only time that he has played them. So at $1.70 is definitely a bet. I'm also agree with Sportsbet's pricing here, having him around the $1.50 or $1.53 mark compared to $1.70. So he's definitely a play. Dragons also give up plenty of tries to the halves. So you got Sam Walker and Hugo Savala. They've conceded to a half in 5 of the last 7 games. So definitely wouldn't talk you out of playing either of those 2 halves. But already have 2 plays on the Roosters and don't want to make it 3. Cowboys versus Bulldogs. Another game where we've got 2 try scorers, but they're both on the same team, and they're both going to be on the Bulldogs here. Just right now, can't trust the Cowboys' attack. It's been better their past 2 games, but there was that month where it was really average. They're better at home. Ideally, if Murray Tloggy was lining up on the left wing, then he would be a play. Right now, he's listed in the reserves or the extended bench, and Braden Burns is listed on that left wing. So if he comes in, then potentially he would be a bet. But I think the Bulldogs will absolutely shape up defensively. Their final 20 minutes against the Broncos last week was awful. They've had an extended break since that game, having it being the early game last week, and expect them to turn up defensively this time. So I'm going to play 2 plays on the Bulldogs. Firstly, on the left wing, that's this matchup right here, and that is Anari Tuala. He's $2.05 at Bet365. This will just be his 2nd game this season. The Cowboys have conceded to the left wing in 5 of the last 7 games, so he has a really good matchup and better than even money. I think he's the best betting option in this game. We're also going to target the second row, and we're going with William Kikau. We're going to stick to that left-hand side of the field. He's $3.30 at Sportsbet. The Cowboys have conceded to a second rower in 4 of the last 5 games and 12 of 16 on the season. Bulldogs average the second most tries through second rowers, most of those coming between Jacob Preston and William Kikau. This game we're going with Kikau just being on that left side. He has only scored in 1 of his last 5 against the Cowboys, but he's in good try scoring form at the moment, and this is a good opportunity for him to get a try. Cowboys also give up plenty of tries to fullbacks. They've conceded in the last 4 games and 5 of the last 6 as well. So that's Connor Tracy. He's a potential betting option as well if you're looking to go an alternative way, but I'm going Tuala and Kikau for the Bulldogs. Then the Warriors versus Tigers. 2 plays here, once again, both on the Warriors side of things. Just with the Tigers, there is potential options. For me, just for the Tigers, it doesn't really match up that well, as their stronger side is the right side, which is the better side defensively for the Warriors, and Tigers don't really score much on that left-hand side of the field. They picked it up a little bit lately, but overall in the season hasn't been great, and that's the weaker side defensively for the Warriors. And if you've watched my videos previously, I'm looking for those matchups where you've got a good attack against a bad defense on that side of the field, which is something we get here for the Warriors, and that is on the left wing first of all. We're going with Roger Tuivasa. He's $1.70 at TAB. The Tigers rank 16th against left wingers, and they've conceded to the left wing in 6 straight games for a total of 8 tries. Tuivasa has scored in 3 of his past 5 and has also scored in 1 of his last 2 against the West Tigers. At $1.70, I don't think there's a huge amount of value there. It just is a okay play at the current odds. Then we're going into the second row for the Warriors as well, and that is Aleka Halasima. He's $3.60 at Bet365. The Tigers have conceded to a second rower 7 of their last 10 games. He has scored in 3 of his last 4, and he also scored last time he played against the Tigers. So at $3.60, definitely like him as a selection, as the alternate selection there for the Warriors. So Tuivasa and Halasima, the 2 plays in the Warriors-Tigers game. Eels versus Panthers. This is a game with just the 1 selection. I'm not going to go with anybody on the Parramatta side of things. I just think they're a little bit too unpredictable, and Panthers' defense has definitely stepped up the past month. I think the Eels have struggled. They struggled to score when these sides met about a month ago. I think that'll be the case again this time. For the Panthers, we're going to the left side. That's where the Eels are worst in the league, and the Panthers are 3rd best in the league. This season, the Eels have conceded 23 tries down their right edge. which is what's put them in last position, and only 15 on the other side of the field. So 23 to the opponent left center, left winger, and 15 to the right center, right winger combined. And the Panthers, they have scored 20 tries down their left edge and only 12 on their right edge. So makes sense. We're going left wing. Thomas Jenkins, $1.80, bet365. The Eels have conceded to the left wing in each of their last 5 games, a total of 8 tries. He has scored in 5 of his last 7 games and has also scored in both games against Parramatta. And obviously the one just that month ago, he got a try in that game. So at $1.80, happy to play him as the lone selection in that match. And final game, Titans versus Broncos. No plays for the Titans. I think they'll find maybe 2 or 3 tries at most in this game, but I don't want to take any try scorers for them. I am going to play 2 though for the Broncos. And generally, like, as soon as I'm playing 2 for one team, it really limits the chances because it's only very specific games. Like, this could be a game because I think it'll be high scoring where I may want to take 3 selections, but it's only games that I think that are going to be really high scoring and can really identify players that have great matchups. Then I want to take 3 selections, but I'm just going to take 2 for the Broncos, and that's going to be down that left edge. Their last 4 games, they've scored 13 tries down their left-hand side to just 2 tries down their right-hand side. On the season, there are 30 tries down the left and 12 on the right. So not only has that been a recent trend, it's also held up through the whole season so far. For the Broncos, firstly at left center, Gahamet Shibasaki, he's $2.30 at bet365. Titans have conceded to the left center in 3 of their last 5 games. He has scored in 4 of his last 5 for a total of 7 tries, including 3 straight doubles, and one of those coming against the Titans back in round 14. So at $2.30, I think he's a great bet. And then on the left wing, Josiah Karapani, $1.70 at bet365. The Titans have conceded to the left winger in 2 of the last 4 games. He has scored in every game he's played this season, so he's 4 from 4, 6 tries scored total. And he also got a double in round 14 against the Titans. Both of these players getting that, and the Broncos scoring the 4 tries down that left edge. Don't see any way the Titans can stop that. Expect the Broncos to go back to what worked a month ago and get success again. I'd be very surprised if either of these players don't score. I'd be very, very surprised if at least one of them doesn't. So that's going to be other plays to close out the round. I'll recap all the selections. Sharks, Dolphins, we're going Sione Katoa, $1.87 at bet365, and Herbie Farnworth at $2.50 at Neds. For the Storm, Ryan Pappenhausen, $2.03 at Sportsbet, and then Grant Anderson also at Sportsbet, $1.87. For the Roosters, James Tedesco, $2.40 at Neds, and Mark Nowak, $1.70 at TAB. Cowboys and Bulldogs, we're going with Nara, $2.05 at Bet365, and William Kickout at $3.30 at Sportsbet. Warriors, Roger Tuivasa, $1.70 at TAB, and Laker, $3.60 at Bet365. For the Panthers, Thomas Jenkins, $1.80 at Bet365, and for the Broncos, Gahamet Shibasaki, $2.30 at Bet365, and Josiah Karapani, $1.70 at Bet365. All the selections that I'm going with this week. Good luck if you're following along. Remember, with the try scorers, back every selection to win the same amount. So that means that your staking is changing based on the odds that you're getting. So at the shorter odds, you're risking a slightly bigger stake. At the players that are bigger odds, you're betting a slightly lower stake. That'll set you up for the best long-term profitability when following try scorer selections. I really appreciate you guys watching, following along on the channel. Hopefully it's helpful for your betting on the NRL, but everything you're betting on, you're picking up strategies for researching, analyzing games, and also for bankroll management of being consistent and week to week. If you can get that dialed in, you can definitely consistently make money betting on sports. And obviously, for me personally, I've been doing this for what's coming up to now almost 14 years. So I did it full time for about 10 years, touch longer, just myself, and then for the past few years I've been sharing what I'm doing online and with members as well, so that more people can make money from their betting accounts. If you have access to all the betting accounts. Like, you can be making tens of thousands of dollars a year with the right strategies. That's what I try to show you how to do. At the moment, I've been working on some additional YouTube videos beyond just analyzing games and going through the projections and predictions, that kind of thing. I'm just going through some more general betting content, strategies, things that I think that have really helped me over the journey, and also things that I think will help you guys increase the amount of money that you're making. So if you have any questions or anything that you want to know, feel free to put it in the comments or send me an email. I'm happy to add that to the list of content that I'll be putting out on this channel. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of those videos, and good luck with your bets this weekend. We're also betting AFL. There's a preview that's already posted on the channel, so check that out. There's also the preview of all these matchups for the NRL this weekend, going through some of the betting trends. And then also coming up this weekend, we have the horse racing on Saturday. We're at 1,710 units all time for racing, so it's going very well. In the racing show, since October 2021, we averaged just under 10 units profit a week. And to do that, we're only outlaying about 30 units from your 100 unit bankroll. So it's super low risk outlay, and then you're getting about 10 units return on average every week. And if you're somebody betting $50, then that's $500 you're making, just under $500 that you're making per week on average throughout the year. So that's about 26 grand a year, and it takes no longer than 30 minutes a week to follow the selections, because the way that I do it is the day before the races, I send out all the bets. So after this video, we're going in and recording a preview just like this for the racing, and then writing up all the bets and staking for the members to follow. And all you have to do is log in, go and put all the selections on, put the bets on your account, and you can watch the video as well, so then you know why you're putting those bets on and you understand why I chose that particular horse in that race. So you're also not only making money, but you're leveling up your knowledge as well. Racing is one of the most profitable things you can bet on in terms of the profit on turnover you're making, so that return you're getting per dollar that you outlay with your bets. And the reason I believe that is the case is because racing has the most mistakes in the market. And the reason for that, I believe, is if you compare sports to racing, whilst yes, there is data for racing, there's the time, sectionals and all that information, it's very limited in comparison to what is available for sports, and particularly like American sports. I created the bet finders, which is some of the things in these videos, plus a lot more for Australian sports, because there's such limited information out there for Australian sports. But for racing, there's so many mistakes in the market because so many different things are missed. That's why we can go in the day before and back horses at $3 that end up starting $2, or take $2.50 for a horse that ends up starting $1.50, and it's just the money comes for those runners really late, or it's just been completely missed in the market. So you can go through, pick out the races, pick out the horses to back, and do it that way. Where for sports, there's still obviously money to be made, but you have to be very dialed in, and without the statistics, it makes it very difficult. That's why using these tools helps so much. But right now, every day we're betting Major League Baseball in America, and there's generally 15 games on every day. Some days there might be 10 games, but from 15 games, generally I'll only bet into maybe 3 of those games, because they're the ones that I know we bet these games will likely make money long term. But you don't want to go in and bet every game, because a lot of the time the odds are correct as to what they should be. So you're only looking for those bets where you think the odds are actually out. And if you apply that principle, then you're constantly taking value bets. By doing that, you're giving yourself a positive expected value, which means if you do that all the time, you'll make money long term, as opposed to doing the opposite and consistently taking unders, which I see a lot of people doing, ultimately results in this downfall of they take negative EV bets, so they're taking unders to what it should be just because they think something might happen, or in a horse race they see a horse getting backed in, and then once it's at rock bottom, then they decide to jump in and they're getting weight unders because that horse is now $2, but it was originally $4. And yes, sometimes it might win, but you want to be the guy sitting on the $4 for it, not the guy taking the $2 for it all the time. And same principle for sports. You don't really want to be on the teams that everyone is backing or that seem the most obvious to the public, or even with try scorers, you don't want to be on those players that everyone's backing that same try scorer and it's trending everywhere. You just have to be really cautious of that, because ultimately that will likely cause you to lose money, particularly if you mix that with poor bankroll management if your staking is very inconsistent and changes dramatically day to day or week to week. Because often I see what happens is people start betting, they're hopeful they're going to make money, and then they start losing, and then emotion takes over and it becomes very erratic, and that's the exact place the betting companies want you to be in. So my goal with these videos is to help you with the selections, but I'll also be adding more videos, and there's other ones back on the channel as well, but to help you with that strategy and everything you're doing behind the scenes beyond just the bets that you're putting on. So if you have any questions, anything you want to know, put those questions in the comments and I'll happily answer them for you. Thanks guys for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you in the next video.